Welcome to Talk Emma Learn English. Here, we learn English by talking, listening, and practicing together. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jack. We're really happy you're here today.
Yes, whether you're listening in the morning, afternoon, or late at night, welcome.
Emma, before we start today's topic, can I ask you something?
Of course. What's up?
How has your day been so far?
Honestly, it's been good. A little busy, but in a nice way. How about you?
Same here. I had a long morning, but I finally got a good cup of coffee, so now I feel human again.
Coffee really does save lives sometimes.
Listeners, how about you? How is your day going today?
And wherever you are, thank you for spending a few minutes with us.
Before we jump in, let's quickly say this. If you enjoy learning English with real conversations,
Please like this episode.
subscribe to Talk Emma Easy English Podcast.
And share it with someone who is learning English like you.
All right, now let's talk about today's topic.
Today's episode is very important, especially for beginners.
Yes, because we're talking about something that almost every English learner struggles with.
Tenses.
Exactly. Simple present, simple past, and simple future.
Many learners say, I know English words, but I don't know when to use which tense.
And that confusion stops them from speaking.
So in this episode, we'll make tenses simple, clear, and useful.
No grammar pressure,
No long rules.
just understanding and real examples.
And remember, this episode is made for beginners.
So if you feel confused sometimes, that's completely okay.
We'll go step by step.
We'll focus on the simple present tense,
The tense we use for daily life.
habits,
Facts.
things that are always true.
Let's start very gently.
Can you tell me something you do every day?
Sure, I wake up early, I drink tea, and I check my phone.
Perfect.
Those sentences are in the simple present tense.
I wake up early. I drink tea. I check my phone.
We use simple present when we talk about things that happen again and again.
Daily routines.
Weekly habits.
Things that are normal for us.
Now, let's look at the structure, but don't worry, we'll keep it easy.
For most subjects, we use the base form of the verb.
For example, I work. You study. We live here. They play football.
Very simple.
But when we talk about he, she, or it, something small changes.
Yes, the verb usually gets S or ES.
For example, he works. She studies. It rains a lot here.
This small s causes a lot of fear.
Yes, but it's really not scary. Even if you forget it sometimes, people still understand you.
Now, let's talk about when we use simple present.
First, for daily routines.
I wake up at 7 a.m.
I go to work at 9.
Second, for habits.
I read before bed. I exercise on weekends.
Third, for general facts.
I read before bed. I exercise on weekends.
Third, for general facts.
The sun rises in the east.
Water boils at 100 degrees.
Now, let's talk about negatives, because learners often ask about that.
Yes, to make a negative sentence in simple present, we usually use do not or does not.
For example, I do not like coffee.
She does not eat meat.
In speaking, we often say, I don't like coffee. She doesn't eat meat.
Very natural.
Now, let's talk about questions. Questions are very important for conversations.
To make a question, we use do or does at the beginning.
For example, do you work here?
Does she live near you?
Notice something important. When we use does, the main verb goes back to its base form.
So we say, does she work here? Not works.
This is a common mistake, and it's okay.
Mistakes are part of learning.
Now, let's do a small real-life conversation using simple present.
Okay, imagine two people meeting at work.
Hi, what do you do?
I work in marketing. What about you?
I'm a student. I study English.
Very simple.
Very useful and very real. Let's give listeners a small practice idea.
Good idea.
Today, try to say 5 sentences about your daily life.
For example, I wake up early. I work or study. I eat lunch at home.
Say them out loud.
Don't just think.
Speaking builds confidence.
Yes, today we're talking about the simple past tense.
This tense helps us talk about things that already happened,
Yesterday, last night, last week.
or even 10 years ago. If the action is finished, we usually use the simple past.
That's the key idea.
Now, let's start with something very normal.
What did you do yesterday?
Yesterday, I worked in the morning and relaxed in the evening.
Great example.
I worked and I relaxed are simple past.
For many verbs, making the past tense is easy.
You just add ed.
For example, work becomes worked. Watch becomes watched. Play becomes played.
These are called regular verbs.
But, English always has a but,
Yes, some verbs don't follow this rule.
these are irregular verbs.
For example, go becomes went, eat becomes ate, see becomes saw.
There's no shortcut here.
You slowly learn them with practice.
And listening helps a lot.
Now let's talk about when we use simple past.
First, for actions that happened at a specific time in the past.
I woke up at 7 a.m. yesterday.
Second, for actions that are completely finished.
I watched a movie last night.
Third, for a series of past actions.
I woke up, took a shower, and left the house.
Now let's talk about negative sentences in simple past.
This is very important.
To make a negative sentence, we use did not.
For example, I did not go to work yesterday.
In speaking, we usually say, I didn't go to work yesterday.
Notice something interesting.
Yes, after did not, the verb goes back to its base form.
We say, I didn't eat breakfast, not ate,
This mistake is very common.
and very normal.
Now let's talk about questions in simple past.
Questions help conversations move forward.
To ask, we use did at the beginning.
For example, did you sleep well?
Did she call you?
Again, the main verb stays in base form.
Not past form.
Now let's do a small, real-life conversation.
Imagine two friends meeting today.
Hey, how was your weekend?
It was great. I visited my family.
Nice. Did you travel far?
No, I stayed in the city.
Simple sentences. Very natural. Now let's talk about a big fear many learners have.
Pronunciation of ed endings.
Yes, worked, played, watched.
Here's the good news.
You don't need to be perfect.
People understand from context.
And with time, your pronunciation improves naturally.
Now let's give listeners a small practice task.
Today, think about yesterday.
Say 5 sentences.
For example, I woke up early. I ate breakfast. I went out.
Say them slowly.
Don't rush.
Confidence comes from repetition.
We'll talk about the simple future tense.
We'll talk about how to talk about plans, decisions, and tomorrow.
The simple future tense.
The tense we use when we talk about tomorrow, next week, or even next year.
Basically, anything that hasn't happened yet.
Do you remember what you planned for tomorrow?
Yes, I'm going to meet a friend for coffee.
Perfect. That's a simple future example.
I am going to meet a friend for coffee.
Exactly. We can also use will for future actions.
Right. I will go to the store tomorrow.
So now, listeners, there are 2 main ways to talk about the future: will and going to.
Both are simple, but they have different meanings.
Let's break it down.
Use going to when you already have a plan or a decision made.
Use will when it's a spontaneous decision or a prediction.
For example, I am going to watch a movie tonight.
You already planned it.
Now, I will watch a movie tonight.
Maybe you just decided this moment.
Exactly. Subtle difference, but important.
Let's do a small conversation example.
Hey, Jack, what are you doing tomorrow?
I'm going to visit my parents.
Nice. I think I will call them too.
See, the first one was planned, the second one was spontaneous.
Now let's talk about positive sentences in simple future.
With will, we use subject plus will plus base verb.
I will study English.
She will travel to Paris.
With going to, we use subject plus am, is, are, plus going to plus base verb.
I am going to cook dinner.
They are going to play football.
Very easy. Now, negative sentences. With will, we use subject plus will not or won't plus base verb.
I will not forget your advice.
Or, I won't be late.
With going to, we use subject plus am, is, are, plus not, plus going to, plus base verb.
I am not going to watch TV tonight.
They are not going to come to the party.
Now, questions are very important for real conversations.
Yes, to ask with will, we put will at the start.
Will you help me tomorrow?
Will she call us later?
To ask with going to, we invert am, is, are.
Are you going to travel next week?
Is he going to join the meeting?
Now, let's do a small real-life conversation using future tense.
Just imagine two friends talking on Sunday evening.
Hey, do you have any plans for tomorrow?
Yes, I am going to visit my grandparents.
Nice. I think I will clean my room and study English.
Good idea. After that, maybe I will watch a movie.
Notice how naturally we mix going to for plans and will for spontaneous decisions.
This is exactly how you use future tense in real life.
Now some bonus tips for beginners.
First, always say it out loud. Reading silently isn't enough.
Second, don't worry about mistakes. It's normal to mix will and going to at first.
Third, practice with daily plans. For example, I will eat breakfast. I am going to meet a friend. I will call my mom.
Now, fourth, remember the time words. Words like tomorrow, next week, tonight help listeners understand you're talking about the future.
Yes, if you say, I go to the store, it sounds present. But if you say, I will go to the store tomorrow, it's clearly future.
Also, don't forget the contractions. I'll for I will, and you'll for you will.
It makes speech sound natural.
Now, let's give listeners a small practice challenge.
Write 5 sentences about your plans for tomorrow.
Try to mix will and going to.
For example, I am going to wake up early. I will call my friend in the evening.
Speak them out loud, don't just think.
Confidence comes from speaking, not thinking silently.
And remember, the future tense is not difficult. It just needs practice and context.
Now, we'll show you how to mix them naturally in conversations.
Yesterday, when I was reviewing my notes, I realized how often I mix tenses in daily life.
Yes, it happens to everyone, especially when we speak fast or think in our native language first.
Exactly. Like, I was telling my friend, I am going to watch a movie yesterday, and she laughed so much.
Oh yes, that happens. You mixed future, going to, with past tense.
Right. But mistakes like this actually help us notice patterns.
True. Let's do something useful. Let's imagine a whole day in your life and use present, past, and future naturally.
Great idea. Let's start in the morning.
I wake up at 7 a.m. That's present tense.
I brushed my teeth and took a shower. Past tense.
Today, I am going to drink a cup of coffee. Future tense.
See how naturally all three appear in one story?
Exactly. Real conversations don't stay in 1/10.
Now, let's continue the day.
I eat breakfast every morning. Present.
Yesterday, I ate eggs and toast. Past.
Tomorrow, I will try a new smoothie recipe. Future.
It's all about context.
Yes, Context shows which tense is correct.
Now, let's imagine a conversation with a friend about your weekend and future plans.
Hi, Emma. How was your weekend?
It was good. I watched a movie on Saturday and went for a walk on Sunday. Past tense.
That sounds fun. What do you usually do on weekends? Present tense.
I usually relax, read, and sometimes cook. Present tense.
And what are you doing next weekend? Future tense.
I am going to meet my cousins and maybe visit the park. Future tense.
Perfect. See how easily the three tenses are mixed in natural speech?
Yes, learners just need examples like this.
Let's practice another scenario, talking about work or school.
I study English every day. Present tense.
Yesterday, I studied grammar and wrote some sentences. Past tense.
Tomorrow, I will revise my vocabulary and practice speaking. Future tense.
Very simple, but very effective.
Now, let's talk about common mistakes beginners make.
First, mixing present with past. For example, I go to the park yesterday.
Instead, it should be I went to the park yesterday.
Second, using will for something already planned.
Yes, I will meet my friend tomorrow is correct, but I will go to the party next week sounds fine too, though going to is more natural for pre-planned actions.
Third, forgetting S in simple present for he, she, it.
He go to school should be he goes to school.
Fourth, forgetting past forms of irregular verbs.
Yes, I buy the book. I bought a book.
And fifth, confusing future tenses with present continuous.
For example, I am meeting my friend tomorrow. Present continuous is correct, but beginners often say, I meet my friend tomorrow. Needs context.
Exactly. But all these mistakes are fixable with practice.
Now let's do a fun story practice. One full story using all tenses.
Go ahead.
Yesterday morning, I woke up at 7 a.m. I brushed my teeth and drank water. Then I checked my phone. I saw that my friend had sent a message. She said, "Do you want to meet today?"
I like this. What did you reply?
I replied, "I am free now. I will meet you in an hour." Future tense.
Perfect. And when you met your friend?
We went to a cafe nearby. I ordered coffee and she ordered tea. We talked about our jobs and studies. Past tense.
Then what happened next?
After an hour, we decided to take a short walk in the park. It is a nice day, I said. Present tense.
Very natural.
Then I told her, tomorrow I'm going to start a new book. Future tense.
This story shows how naturally all three tenses appear.
Exactly. Learners often worry about tense rules, but listening and practicing stories like this works wonders.
Now let's give listeners some practical exercises.
Exercise 1. Write about your yesterday using simple past.
Exercise 2, write about your daily routine using simple present.
Exercise 3. Write about your plans for tomorrow or next week using simple future, will, or going to.
Exercise 4, try to mix all three tenses in one short story.
Exercise 5. Speak it out loud. Record yourself if possible. Listening to yourself helps a lot.
Another tip, try thinking in English instead of translating.
Yes. For example, when you wake up, think, I am brushing my teeth, instead of मैं दांत साफ कर रही हूँ.
This reduces hesitation while speaking.
Also, don't overthink. Short, clear sentences are always better than complicated ones.
Right. I went to the park yesterday. I am eating breakfast now. I will visit my friend tomorrow. Perfect.
And finally, remember, mistakes are your best teachers.
The more you practice, the more naturally your English will sound.
And one small fun tip, try telling your day to a friend in English every night. Even 5 to 10 sentences daily makes a huge difference.
Yes, and it's fun too. You'll notice improvement within weeks.
So to wrap up, simple present for daily habits, simple past for finished actions, simple future for plans and predictions.
Mix them naturally in conversation and your English will sound real and fluent.
We hope this episode helped you understand tenses better and gave you confidence to use them.
If you liked this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And comment below. Try writing one short story using all 3 tenses. We'll read them and encourage you.
Keep practicing, and soon speaking English will feel natural.
Thanks for listening.
See you in the next episode.